Yo. Let's take a couple of
During the
these
fire,
videos here.
they were using TNT and cannons to
Right.
put out the fire. And they said that it was because they disrupted the water lines. That's what they said.
Right.
So they needed to use TNT. And you sit there and think, who on earth would use TNT to put out a fire? You know, doesn't make any sense
Right.
unless you wanted to get rid of a lot of the things. And when you look at a lot of the pictures of the aftermath of San Francisco and that whole
Right.
situation that occurred, you
Right.
see that the buildings have all holes blown in them. Almost kind of like all the events we always see across the realm after an event happens. Certain
Right.
things are burnt and gone, certain things are not. And all of those buildings, when you look at them, or the architecture, they all look exactly identical.
Right.
So then you sit there and think, okay, so somebody was building the same up in Canada. They were
Right.
building the same in San Francisco. This is like where it gets crazy. You see the same domes that are in San Francisco or the same domes that you see in Chicago. So then you sit there and think, okay, so somebody traveled all the way across, moved all the granite, assembled all of this. And San Francisco was a big one because San Francisco looked like something out of, a movie for how beautiful it actually was. During the fire, they were using TNT.
That's pretty crazy right there.
At first, Caligula seemed like the perfect emperor, but he soon revealed what true madness looked
I thought
like.
he was an asshole.
In the dead of night, he would send guards to wake the senators and bring them before him. Terrified for their lives, they came expecting execution. Instead, the emperor would appear dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, silently perform a dance in front of them, and then send them home without a word. His next
What a
act
weirdo.
was even stranger. He appointed his horse, Incitatus, as consul. The animal received a marble stable, a golden chain, personal servants, and an ivory dining table. The senators remained silent and applauded. On one occasion, Caligula assembled an army to invade Britain. But when the weather turned rough and the sea became choppy, he changed his plans and turned his fury toward the ocean. He ordered the legions to wage war on the sea, to slash at the waves with swords, hurl spears into the surf, and collect seashells from the coast, which they later brought back to Rome as trophies of their victory over Neptune. Rome was horrified, but no one dared to object. It all lasted 4 years, until his own bodyguards, the Praetorians, killed him and ended the reign of the god on earth. At first, Caligula seemed like the perfect emperor, but he soon revealed what true madness looked like.
What a weirdo.
The 12 judgments God will use to judge us, exactly when they'll happen, and what happens if you fail them. Every single person watching this video will face the following 12 judgments. Both the living and the dead will stand trial. These judgments will take place from now until the end of time. In every judgment, we have the chance for salvation. But as the judgments progress, they become increasingly difficult to overcome. But it's not just humans who will stand trial. 2 of these judgments are reserved for fallen angels and churches. Pay close attention, for this is what we are about to reveal. 1. The particular judgment. This is the only judgment that occurs long before the calamities of the end times. It is appointed for men to die once, and after this comes judgment. This judgment takes place before the rapture, before the tribulation, and before the trumpets of Revelation. It happens right after a person dies. At that moment, God asks a very important question. What did you do with the Son I sent into the world? In this judgment, the good deeds we've done don't matter. It doesn't matter how much we sinned or how many times we went to church. The Bible makes it clear, whoever does not believe stands condemned already. The only thing that determines this judgment is whether we accept Jesus. But what happens to those who fail this judgment? Luke 16 tells the story of a rich man who dies and wakes up screaming in Hades. But this Hades isn't eternal hell. It's a waiting room for the great white throne judgment. And it's precisely in this final judgment where the decision is made about who gets cast into eternal hell. We'll see this next. Those who stand approved in the particular judgment also enter a waiting room, but in a different place. Their spirits remain conscious in paradise alongside God, while they await a different judgment, the judgment seat of Christ. Whether they stand approved in the particular judgment or not, everyone enters a waiting room where they will remain until the major events of Revelation, when the rest of the judgments will unfold. And stay tuned in this video because we are about to discover them. 2. The judgment of the rapture. A day that seems normal will turn into the most astonishing event in all of history. Suddenly, millions of people will disappear. This is known as the rapture. The Bible explains it this way: the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we will be caught up together with them in the clouds. But who will be taken? Only those who can answer yes to this question from God. Were you watching and ready to meet me? This means not everyone will be taken. Only those who have been spiritually alert and faithful. Jesus warned, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come." Being spiritually alert means living always awake before God. It's looking at our lives with honesty, seeing if we're doing what God asks, and repenting quickly when we fall short. But what will happen to those who fail this judgment and are not taken up in the rapture? They will remain on earth to endure a time known as the Great Tribulation. It will be a very challenging 7-year period with catastrophic punishments and trials unlike anything the world has ever seen. Those who are found unworthy in the judgment of the rapture may still find salvation during the Great Tribulation, but it will come at the cost of terrible martyrdom. Even though people left behind can still be saved during the tribulation, it will be a heavy price to pay. Many will have to lay down their lives for their faith, even facing death. On the other hand, those who are raptured will experience a glorious transformation. Their current bodies will be changed in an instant. Mortal bodies will be replaced with glorified immortal ones. They will be miraculously taken for a personal encounter with Christ in heaven, escaping all the dreadful judgments that will befall the earth. For them, the Bible offers this promise: "Because you have kept the word of my patience, I will also keep you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the whole world." Thus, the rapture serves as a great divider. It distinguishes those who truly follow Christ in their hearts from those who only pay lip service. This event marks the end of God's patience and the beginning of judgment upon the world. It will arrive without warning, like a thief in the night. "I will come like a thief, and you will not know what hour I will come upon you." The sudden disappearance of millions of people will cause worldwide chaos. Social and economic systems will collapse. This turmoil will be the perfect opportunity for the Antichrist to appear,
This one's pretty
presenting
descriptive.
himself as the
It
only
goes
one
on for a
capable of
while.
solving the global crisis. Interestingly, in the original Greek Bible, the word harpazo is used to describe the rapture. This word means to
I
snatch
don't
away
know.
violently. It is
I
a
have to look at
swift
that
and
word.
powerful action that will divide the world into two groups: those who were ready and those who were not. 3. The judgment at the judgment seat of
I don't want to
Christ.
skip, but like,
Immediately
I wanna
after the
finish this
rapture,
one, too.
while the earth plunges into the Great Tribulation, something extraordinary will occur in heaven. The believers who have been raptured will stand before Christ. This moment is called the judgment seat of Christ, or in Greek, the bema. The
When you're
word
done
bema
in the
was
waiting
used
room?
in ancient Greece and Rome. It was a platform where athletes received prizes, such as crowns, based on their effort and performance.
That's pretty
Paul
cool.
used the metaphor of athletes to illustrate what will happen with believers. "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or bad." This judgment isn't about determining who is saved and who isn't. Those present have already been saved by their faith in Jesus. Instead, this judgment assesses the motivation behind every deed and action carried out during life. Here's the surprising part: the works of every believer will be tested by divine fire. Paul clearly explains their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire. Some deeds may
Fire.
seem impressive but are poorly motivated. For instance, serving others just for applause, preaching to feel important, or helping someone only to be seen by all. God's fire will consume such deeds in an instant, for they hold no real value to Him. Yet there are other deeds. For those who stand approved in this judgment, the rewards are glorious. The Bible mentions at least 5 distinct crowns for those who succeed in this judgment. The crown for those who exercised self-control, the crown for soul winners, the crown for those who longed for His coming, and the crown for those who endured trials. But there's more. These believers will reign with Christ for 1,000 years. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given to them. While Earth experiences the most terrible horrors in history during the Great Tribulation, this rewarding ceremony takes place in heaven, a striking contrast. Chaos below. The 12 judgments go.
This is in Arizona?
This is in Arizona.
And this really rich guy, he's a, what is it?
He's a Rothschild.
A Rothschild. He bought this town of Felicity and named it after his
Look at
wife,
that.
Felicity.
Wait, is this real?
Who we think we ran into.
Can we make sure that this is real?
We visited it.
Go for tours of this place.
Oh, we did a tour.
We did a tour.
Horrifying.
Why?
They tried to get us in the center of the pyramid, in the center of the thing, put our foot in the middle, save this thing and make a wish and then sign a contract. And I was like, and we were like, I'm not doing that. And she was like, well, it's the only part of the tour you have to do.
And they go,
to do the tour. And that's when we said, we don't want to do the tour anymore. We're going to leave. And she was pissed.
and then they said, she goes, this right here is the center of the world.
This is in Arizona?
This is in Arizona.
And this really rich guy,
Arizona?
what is it?
He's a Rothschild.
A Rothschild. He bought this town of Felicity and named it after his wife, Felicity.
Wait, is this real?
Who we think we
I gotta look into that.
There's been some breaking developments in the ongoing investigation into this lunatic, the guy who wiped
Yeah,
out
you hear about
3
this
people
one?
doing an illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike. It's going to blow your mind. So as part of the FMCSA's ongoing investigation into what happened, they did an in-person interview with this driver where they administered an ELP, or English Language Proficiency
He
examination on
can't
this
even
guy.
read his
The
reading.
driver failed the assessment, providing correct responses to just 2 of
Look
the
at this
12
Arizona.
verbal questions, and only accurately identifying 1 of the 4 highway traffic signs. But just wait, it gets even better, because remember, the English Language Proficiency was an executive order that Trump put into place, which reinstated a previously existing regulation from the FMCSA that has been around since the 1930s, making it a requirement to be able to be proficient in the English language. But here's the problem. States are not enforcing this. This is where stuff starts to get really deep and sinister, though, so follow along with me very closely here. This guy was pulled over on
It's
July 3rd,
Felicity,
2025, just
California.
last month, by the New Mexico State Police because he was speeding. They did a roadside inspection, cited him for speeding, but there's no indication that an English language proficiency assessment was administered. Had it been, he would have been taken off the road. Why is this? Well, because New Mexico has not yet begun enforcing it as an out-of-service condition.
Yeah, this whole thing was a
being
tragedy.
in effect since June 25th, 2020.
Next.
This is the statue of Lucifer, not Liberty, not Lady Liberty. This is Satan. This is a representation and a depiction of Satan, the light bearer or light bringer. All right. The whole story of this construction is absolutely ridiculous. So France built this in the late 1800s. They were like, oh, hey, you know, we want to give you guys a gift for beating out Britain. And we want to build this in France, in Paris, complete it, then tear it down and put it on one ship, 350 pieces on one ship, 214 crates,
Right.
and sent across. And they also they sent
There's like
certain
9
parts, they
sets
sent
too.
the head and the arm at certain parts so they can put it on display so they can raise money. Then they sent the rest of the body later. July 4th, 1776, right? This is the day that Lucifer was freed from the abyss. Jesus returned in judgment in the 1st century in 70 AD. The millennial reign already happened. My rapture Christian friends, I love you guys. I love you guys. I'm not bothered by you. I'm mad about the fact that Lucifer, this dude right here, deceived all of us into thinking that all of it's going to happen in the future. It already happened. They added hundreds and hundreds of years to the timeline to obscure the fact that the millennial reign of Jesus Christ already happened. And you got tricked. The atheists, the people who don't believe in God and Jesus Christ, y'all got tricked into thinking that it was Christian mythology, that it was fake. This guy tricked all of us. Lucifer in Latin means light bringer or light bearer. And this is Isaiah 14:12. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations. And he's still weakening them today because he got released from the abyss. The Statue of Liberty resembles the Statue of Libertas, who is the Roman goddess of liberty or rebellion.
Basically doing the same thing.
From traditional rules and things. So when you're celebrating 4th of July, now I sure took the day off. I took the day off, don't get me wrong. But I didn't celebrate jack squat. Because for one, black people were still enslaved during 1776, according to the mainstream history. According to the mainstream history. And this is a pagan holiday. Libertas is a Roman pagan god. A god of rebellion. And that's what that is. Lucifer rebelled in heaven and convinced a third of the angels to stiff-arm God and to revolt and start a coup, essentially. And Jesus came to earth. He disrupted the whole operation. God in the flesh. The only way to be saved is through Jesus Christ. Of course, Satan hated that. He didn't like that. Satan, the millennial reign happened. Judgment got brought. The millennial reign happened. Satan was put into the abyss for 1,000 years. Armageddon already happened. All that stuff already happened. The mark of the beast, Antichrist, all that already happened. What we're waiting for now is Gog and Magog. That's what we're waiting for. And this is a symbol of Lucifer being freed from the abyss. This is not about taxation without representation. Oh, Boston Tea Party. We don't want to be under the...
I'm from outer space. I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gone, I've been far away. I'm illuminated now, I make a move, start the waves. I've been breathing on my mind for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they want to go inside. Yeah, I'm officially delegated away. I'm your future, past and present, I'm a fine line. Yeah, I'm a mislead of this illusion. I am not really here, I'm an intrusion. I don't swim or sing, I just flow. I don't need gravity, I need roll. When I move, it's in a quick rumble. I won't ever fall.
It's just lots of pigs.
And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho. When I
According to the disc, humanity developed time travel in the 20th century, not for exploration, for survival. These future humans were on a timeline where Earth gets invaded by synthetic beings called the Animus. The Animus were more than just machines. They were an android race with artificial intelligence driven by one obsession: to become soul carriers, to achieve immortality. But they lacked organic nervous systems, the very thing needed to carry a soul's higher frequency. So they needed our DNA, not just to reproduce, to evolve. And they didn't choose Earth randomly. We're a genetic library. Our DNA carries something rare in the universe, a full range of emotions, the key to the human soul. The Animus wanted our source code, the original blueprint of human genetics. And they'd been here before, 300 million years ago, and again about 9,000 years ago. Both times they found humans too primitive for their needs, but they were scheduled to return in 2011, and this time they'd find us useful. The timeline was specific. First, infiltration. They'd appear as friends, advanced beings here to help. They'd work with the United Nations to bring stability to Earth by creating a global governing body.
one world government.
Yep, the group is called the Incunabula.
Another word for Illuminati.
Yep. And their plan is to control the world's money supply and natural resources. These would be distributed by the Incunabula who are android-human hybrids.
And you went check Klaus Schwab for wires.
They would implement a paperless electronic currency that tracks the spending habits of everyone on Earth. This would give the incunabula insight into individual affairs and allow them to manipulate global events. By 2018, the incunabula would be running the world. But this future could be avoided. The disc explained how. What we perceive as normal biology is actually a suppressed version of our full genetic potential. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. The wingmakers claimed we can activate 24. And here's why that mattered. The Animus can only harvest from standard human DNA, our current 23 chromosome pairs. Humans with 24 activated chromosome pairs would be useless, like incompatible software. 7 sites around the world would trigger this activation. It could be done simply through meditation. As more people meditated, dormant DNA would activate. First 2 pairs, then 4, then 12, eventually all 24. And the disc had another solution. Use time travel to stop the Animus from ever finding Earth. So humanity had 2 defenses, one biological and one technological. Dr. Neruda understood the value of both options, but ACIO's leadership was split. Half wanted to use technology, half wanted transformation. Neruda was caught in the middle, but he knew he'd have to make a choice. And the choice wasn't just about technology versus consciousness, it was about who decides humanity's future. According to the disc, humanity developed time travel in the 20th century, not for exploration, for survival. These future humans were on a timeline where Earth gets invaded by synthetic beings called the Anunnaki.
Intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named
This is getting
U.S. religious
nuts.
organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy intelligence community intentionally suppressed.
So why say they found nothing when it's so obvious that they did? Why lie to us? They did find something, and it wasn't just pottery. Where we are told they were actually finding hieroglyphs resembling circuitry and unknown symbols, with artifacts vanishing into private collections, shipped to Europe and the US without public records. 1933, the secrecy begins, banning foreign-led excavations, restricting access, finding old world technology underground, where in 1945, World War II ends. Massive scientific discoveries flying at us. Germany was absorbed by the USA. Operation Paperclip, where over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were all brought to the U.S. to run
There's
these
probably a lot of
organizations,
advancements because of the war,
NASA.
too.
The Rand Corporation was fully operational in the 1950s, where they referenced subterranean vaults in Japan that were similar to those in Giza. And then what do you know? 1956, here comes AI. The birth of artificial intelligence, 1956, a Dartmouth conference, where we see that Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts, they already published papers 13 years prior describing neural networks using binary logic, where their work was resembling something already known.
Yeah, they already had AI.
Not something they just
This is
imagined.
nothing new.
So why say they found nothing when it's so obvious?
Okay, so I stumbled upon something that is truly amazing, and you guys want to sit back and listen to what I'm about to tell you. So I have proof that the Mandela effect has happened. So a couple of days ago, I made this video saying that the timeline has changed. So essentially what the video was about was I had saw this video of Randy Quaid, the actor, who I thought passed away a couple years ago, right? Come to find out, he's still alive. A lot of the people that saw that video agreed with me and said, oh yeah, Randy Quaid did pass away. I do remember him passing away a couple years ago. So here's a crazy thing. I got a message from a person. I'm not going to say the name of the person because I didn't get their approval. But it says, this person right here.
I don't know if this person died or not years ago.
When you predicted the demise of Britney Spears and Jack Nicholson. That was amazing. I'm going to share something with you guys that is going to blow your mind.
That may or may not be a accurate thing, but like I don't know who this person is.
I did a video. If you guys have been watching my videos, you know, for almost a year, I've been on here. A couple years, I've been on TikTok. So I've been practicing ESP, telekinesis. I do remote viewing. For those, just to break it down in simpler terms, I see things before they happen. So I made this video at the beginning of the year 2024, last year.
Okay.
And I predicted that, hopefully I don't get sued for what I'm about to say, but I already made the video. But wait, it's going to get interesting. I made this prediction that Britney, it got like the
Britney
video.
Spears. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
So let me see if I got this straight. You're trying to tell me?
Oh, I've got your eyes.
Oh, you son of a ballbag. This is known as the Free Rock Whales in Thailand. And it's been given that name because people say it resembles a family of whales. A mommy whale, a daddy whale, and a baby whale. But the official narrative says that it's just a natural rock formation that was formed over 75 million years ago. But check the catch. 75 million years ago, this whole region was underwater. Oh, we got your ass now. So what people are saying is that the reason why they look like whales, because brother, that's what they are. Petrified giant
whale.
So what we're trying to say,
To be petrified like that, they would have had like die instantly or something, right?
Vegetation, animals, even humans. And at some point, there was a cataclysm that petrified many living things and turned them into stone. But the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. So let me see if I got this straight. You're trying to
Let me see if I got this.
Russia has announced a vaccine for cancer. They've tested it. This is coming out of Russia.
See, that's awesome.
And they're going to give it to anybody who has cancer for free. You can't have it if you don't have cancer. They say that would be dangerous. But if you have cancer, you can get it. And it seems to be working. So they're saying, I'm taken back because they just want to give it to people to help people. They don't want to sell it. You probably won't see this on American media because, you know, big pharma, the medical industry here, they don't want you to know that they have this capability. And they're going to want to monetize it. They're going to want to, they're probably going to come out and say they got one too, watch. They're probably going to come out and say, we have one too.
Yeah, for $1 million.
God forbid somebody else did it before they do it in this
not covered by insurance
and try to give it out for free.
You know how they like to tell us the truth right in plain sight, right? Well, let's see if you can follow along with this truth right in plain sight. Before we get there, let's start off with this. You know that he is the 45th and the 47th president, right? The 45th and the 47th. And why do I talk about that? Why do I bring this into the picture? Well, because I think that's part of it being right in plain sight. The 45th and the 47th just happens to be 9 and 11.
9 and
Well,
11.
what happened on 9/11, but that's not the 9/11 I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about the biblical 9/11, specifically Revelation 9/11, that reads, "They are ruled by a king, the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon," or I couldn't help notice that it was Abaddon. And in Greek, it's Apollyon. So the guy that just happens to be the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to 9/11, who likes to refer to himself as a king.
I want to share with our viewers something the president posted, and it's a message that reads in part, quote, "Long live the king." And this is after he ended New York's...
Well, yeah, because you showed him a picture of him with the crown.
President, which adds to 9/11 and refers to himself as the king. And Revelation 9/11 just happens to talk about the king, whose name is Abaddon, and the guy who just happens to have a penthouse on the 66th floor.
Stretching a little
interesting
bit.
things in that penthouse. Interesting things.
Yeah,
like
some of
the
these things are a
statue
little
of
creepy.
Apollo. You see, Trump sees himself in the mold of Apollo, Zeus's son, and one of the most powerful of all the gods. So the guy who is the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to 9/11. 9/11, which talks about Abaddon and Apollyon, and he just happens to have a statue of Apollo in his 66th
Abaddon.
penthouse. And two, if you wanted
Like
to stay
Donald,
and vote for him, you dial 8 minus
Don.
42 or 66.
That's pretty
Few
interesting
short
as well.
verses after
Why
Revelation
don't you get to that?
It's Revelation 13, where it talks about the allegiance of the oppressive system and the mark of the beast, and it being the number 666. And just a few short verses later in Revelation, we get to, "He laid hold the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. That old serpent, which is the devil." Kind of reminds me of that serpent in the Garden of Eden. You know, the one that offered Eve the forbidden fruit that is often depicted as an apple. You know, the one that he's depicted with on his first ever book. When speaking of Apple, I couldn't help but put the two and two together. The first Apple computer was sold for $666.66. And there's more from this. We talked about the serpent, which is the devil.
Yeah, a lot of facts on here, a lot of dots.
But what about that?
I don't know if a lot of them connect, but
Trump is also
they're all
referred
facts.
to as the dragon.
China's admiration for Trump comes with an ironic twist. On social media, he's nicknamed Nation-Building Trump. Also, comments like these: "The Dragon King is coming back." The official photo of American Empire's King Trump.
We got the dragon and the king in that one, but there's more
The
dragon
Dragon King.
references.
Best I've ever looked, and oh, the POTUS is calling me, Mr. President.
Gonna put that on speaker for us, or what?
You are a great fighter, man. I'll tell you, you make it so easy. I don't know how to do that. Congratulations. I wanted to watch that fight tonight. I wanted to watch it. You were great.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. You gave me the dragon energy when you shook my hand on Sunday
The
at your
Dragon
rally.
Energy.
So the Dragon King, who just happens to be the 45th and the 47th president, which adds to that. And in that, it just happens to
A
say
bad
his name.
Don.
Abaddon, and also Apollyon, and that guy just happens to have an Apollo statue in his 66th floor penthouse. Oh, and I bet you'd be shocked that the Trump administration just happens to favor Apple, which was first sold for, again, remember, $666.66. Maybe that mark of the beast isn't going...
But he didn't sell it or
in
price it.
But in your hand. But of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I don't...
Products from the past that were banned for shocking reasons. AIDS Diet Candy. AIDS was a popular appetite suppressant candy in the 1970s and early 1980s, but when the AIDS crisis emerged, the unfortunate similarity in names led to public backlash. Despite rebranding attempts, the product was eventually pulled from the market. Snackwell's cookies. In the 90s, Snackwell's low-fat cookies became insanely popular during the fat-free craze, but later, people realized they were packed with sugar and not actually healthier. The backlash caused sales to crash, and the product line was drastically cut back. Sony Rootkit CDs. In the mid-2000s, Sony released music CDs with hidden software that automatically installed on users' computers to prevent copying, but it secretly exposed users to major security risks. After public backlash and lawsuits, the CDs were pulled from shelves, and the technology was banned. Clackers. These toys were made of two hard acrylic balls attached to a string,
I remember
swung
that.
together to make a clacking sound. However, due to the risk of them shattering and causing injuries, they were removed from stores in the
I
early
think it's been
1970s
plastic
and
now.
1980s. products from the past that were banned for shocking.
Yeah, some of those.
Now, I'm not saying that we've never been to space, and I'm not saying.
But you're about to say it though.
Been to the moon, but I've got a question.
Oh, I've got a question for you.
That when we look into space, we only see the same stars. I mean, every night, no matter what night, it could be Christmas, it could be your birthday.
It's like the same stars that rotate around us forever.
You see, the problem is this: they tell us that we're spinning through the air at 1,000,000 miles per hour. We should be traveling past different planets, different stars, different constellations. Even the moon is in the same place. Every day, every month, every year. The same thing. So maybe I don't understand science, or maybe I'm just a critical thinker. But when I say something don't make sense, I mean something don't make sense. Now, I'm not saying that we've never.
That's true, it doesn't really make sense.
I keep telling you guys, they cut down all of the giant trees. We used to live in a much bigger realm. These mountains.
That's a big ass tree. Look at that big ass cabin.
They were all giant trees that have been chopped down. The evidence is all around you guys. Look at this. These trees used to be massive. That's a tree stump. Now, look at this. Ancient world. I keep telling you guys, they cut down all.
Yeah, that's the moon. Supposedly. That's a guy. Look at that. Look at that, that's a dude. That's so crazy.
In my left hand, I have a feather. In my right hand, a hammer. And I guess one of the reasons we got here today was because of a gentleman named Galileo a long time ago, who made a rather
The
significant
moon
discovery
again.
about falling objects in gravity fields. And we thought that where would be a better place
Explain it.
to
Let's see.
confirm his findings than on the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcon. And I'll drop the two of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that? Which proves that Mr. Galileo was correct in his findings. Well, in my left hand, I have a feather.
Forward, please. Facing forward. Thank you. That's what I like. That's what I like.
Yeah, it's gotta be like a glitch. People disappear live on camera.
Kids!
That's fake.
As we wrap up, I'd like to ask that we all stand for one last song.
Fake. Oh my goodness. This.
It's a birthday party. So,
Got it.
Not mine, but
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
no, of course not.
All right. Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Your registration is
Ta-da!
Sarah?
Forward, please. Facing forward. Thank you.
That's fake. It's all cap.
This guy goes missing after exposing the place where NASA filmed the moon landing? Oh man, I just know. I just feel it in my bones, guys. This video went viral, and very shortly after, he came up missing. Check out the background, guys. Look, it's identical. They are identical the same. This guy goes missing after exposing the place.
That's crazy. A giant sea creature attack. That's how the Titanic went down for real. From the chronovisor.
Meet the world's oldest living person.
What
he claims to have lived for 1,000 years and married at least 1,000 wives. The old man before your eyes is
this
not
guy
a
looks
legend
creepy
or a
looking.
statue, but a living, breathing human being. Currently, he's nothing but skin and bones. Yet he can still fly around effortlessly with his martial arts skills. This old man is no ordinary person. His name is Memory. Having outlived all his descendants, he has experienced generation after generation while his body remains robust. The old man
He
now
looks
says
weird.
he has lived for 400,000 centuries.
That's what you look like
yes,
when you live
you
that
heard
long
that
ago.
right. He claims to have witnessed dinosaurs and the first fish with toes playing hide and seek. He even taught cavemen how to cook. His favorite dish is a mammoth stuffed with bracken and lava. And his first love was Taylor Swift. His first job was digging traps with dinosaurs. And he invented sand oceans. And that's just one of his minor achievements. Rumor.
I can't look anymore.
The wire team that there was
That shit was weird.
Daddy needs a new yacht. We did, but they said screw you and walked off. That's fine. I'm sure we won't have any wire flubs. Wait, what was that? All right, guys, we'll catch up to you later. Now, we haven't cut yet, so please don't swat at that fly. That's right in front of you there. Okay, how do we spin this one? Space fly? Well, yeah, I mean, the cockroaches, they say, can survive nuclear blasts, so...
It just came up with
Been
us.
brushing his teeth, right? Okay, when we fast forward, make sure the water bag behind him in the back floats at a faster speed, because otherwise it's going to go the same speed when it's going normal, and then when we speed it up, it should go faster. Make sure it's just not going the same speed the whole way. Okay. Okay, Ryan, we're going to have you do a nice flip for the folks at home here. They're going to love it. And Steve, you're behind him. If you can make sure his wires don't get stuck above when he does, that'd be great. Don't make it too obvious, though, just like you're reaching up for something. Perfect. Oh, and Tom, he's getting a little off center. If you could maybe pull on his harness or something, kind of center him back up. That's great. That's what they're there for, right? All right, I'm sure no one noticed.
Octonauts.
All right, did we tell the...
Did you know there's a mysterious satellite that's been watching Earth for over 13,000 years?
Oh, the Black Knight
Long
satellite.
before humans even invented the wheel, this dark object was already orbiting our planet.
Yep.
NASA has photographed it multiple times, but it doesn't match any known spacecraft or space debris. The strangest part? Amateur radio operators have been picking up structured signals from its exact location since the 1920s. That's decades before we launched our first satellite. According to conspiracy theorists, this ancient probe belongs to an extinct alien civilization that's been monitoring our development. The government allegedly classifies all research about it and silences anyone who gets too close to the truth. But here's the mind-blowing part that even skeptics can't explain. The satellite's orbit should be decaying naturally, pulling it toward Earth. Instead, it maintains perfect surveillance coverage, as if it's actively adjusting its position. Something up there is still watching us, and it's been doing so since before recorded history began. Did you know there's a mysterious satellite that's been watching Earth?
That was true.
You son of a bitch. Now this don't make no sense. The Earth's core is the innermost geological layer, composed of a solid inner core and a liquid outer core. It's primarily made of iron, nickel, and is incredibly hot, even hotter than the sun's surface. But when you go into the ocean and the further down you go, the water gets cold. Why isn't the Earth's core warming up the water like soup in a pot. And I heard that we get our heat from the sun. That can't possibly be right. So the mainstream narrative says that our sun hits the ozone layer. It's absorbed Earth, but it's the coldest. I mean, come on, brother. How
Come
can
on,
the
brother.
heat travel through space, but space?
These two guys attempted to build
What?
the
Look at
stairway to
them.
heaven.
That's gotta be
And it kinda
AI.
worked. In the year 1915, brothers Earl
Maybe
and
not.
Brock
I don't
moved
know.
down to
Do you
Jazz
think?
City, Utah for work.
Do you think people can
They
have
eventually
ears like
both got
that?
jobs in construction, but just a few months in, Brock was struck in the head by a piece of debris at work and had to take time off. After the accident, Brock was never quite the same, and that's when he came up with the idea to build a stairway to heaven. After a little convincing, Earl decided he would help. The two of them moved into a small house on the side of a mountain and began construction. After a couple of years, they successfully built the stairway up to about cloud level. But sadly, in the year 1917, a man named Ray Zenz was flying his personal plane and accidentally crashed into the stairway,
How?
unable to see it due to how cloudy it was. Tragically,
The one
stairway
thing
came
in the
crumbling down,
sky?
with the brothers at the top of it. Obviously, the brothers and Ray didn't survive the accident, but in a way, they did reach their goal.
Are you?
These two guys attempted to build the stairway.
Here's my 110-pound iron-working anvil. I set it in here and see if it floats. Okay, it doesn't seem to want to stay upright. I'll just let it tip over. There it is. It's floating. Look at that. The iron anvil floats because mercury has a density nearly twice that of iron. In fact, due to the density ratios, the iron actually floats better than wood does in water. Oh, it's hard to push down.
That's pretty cool.
My hammer in. Hammer floats too. That's pretty great. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Here's my 100.
What if Antarctica isn't just a frozen wasteland at the bottom of a globe, but the actual boundary of our world, the true ceiling that keeps us contained? Follow Earth Truthers Network for more hidden knowledge and suppressed theories they don't want you questioning.
Want to see some Tartarian technology?
Sure.
Technology that didn't need to use electricity, that didn't need to plug into the wall. You're seeing it right here. A kettle that was able to boil water without any electricity. Look at this. They use stone, like the Congo stones. Here's some more Tartarian technology. This is all over our real history. Like, you just need to open your eyes to see. Look at this. This is how the ancients used to travel around.
Pretty good
They
stuff.
used to use very sophisticated technology, guys. Look at this stuff.
We got like variations of that stuff now. It's
Beautiful.
just
Intricate.
nothing's ever really new.
Precise, genius design. Look at this. You have to understand that everything that we have been taught is a lie. Tartaria was the greatest empire that's ever roamed this earth. And they had free energy everywhere. Peace and love.
Peace
Want
and
to see
love.
some Tartarian?
Right.
In the beginning, God created the heavens, and the earth.
And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And God called the firmament heaven. And God called the firmament heaven.
The one who builds his upper chambers in the heavens and has founded his vaulted dome over the earth, vaulted dome over the earth. Praise him.
Look at that. That's the cities. I see it. We don't build with that. Domes, geometric windows, plazas, intersections, avenues. All these have different reasons.
The scriptures openly declare that you are God operating in human form. 2,000 years of conventional religious interpretation have convinced billions otherwise. When Moses asked for the divine name, the answer was, I am, exactly the same consciousness that you experience right now, not symbolically, literally. Jesus stated, before Abraham was, I am, and I and the Father are one, revealing that you and the creative power of the universe are identical. The very scriptures they read every Sunday scream the truth. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You don't need a connection with God because you are the divine consciousness itself pretending to be limited. That constant fear of failure you cultivate, it's shaping your future right now. Do you accept the feeling of scarcity as normal? It's programming your bank account. You were trained from childhood to look for God outside, to pray to something external, to ask permission to exist fully. But you need to understand the exact mechanism by which your feelings become your reality, because most will die without ever discovering that they always had the power to create any life they desired.
You are God experiencing life through a human body, but you have spent your entire existence searching for a connection with an external divinity that never existed separate from you. The scriptures themselves declare this truth openly, although 2,000 years of biased translation and dogmatic interpretation have obscured the obvious. When Moses asked for the divine name at the burning bush, the answer was, I am that I am. Precisely the same consciousness that you experience now while reading these words. That fundamental certainty of existing, prior to any identification with name or form, constitutes the divine presence operating through human experience. Not a spark, not a connection, but the total creative power of the universe, manifesting as individual consciousness. Neville Goddard exposed this mechanism without ambiguity in Feeling is the Secret. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively but literally. Every object, person, and circumstance in the physical world represents states of consciousness crystallized into apparent form. The observer creates the observed, not poetically, but operationally. Jesus Christ stated, "The kingdom of heaven is within you, and I and the Father are one," revealing not a special condition of his own, but the nature of all human consciousness. When understood literally, these declarations destroy the religious power structure built upon the premise of separation. If each individual recognized their divine identity, all external spiritual authority would evaporate instantly. The mechanism by which you forgot this truth operates through the apparent division of consciousness. Neville describes two aspects working together: the conscious, masculine and selective, which thinks and chooses, and the subconscious, feminine and receptive, which accepts without question and manifests into reality. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives them form and expression. The operational secret resides in feeling as the only means of communication between these aspects. No idea can be impressed upon the subconscious until it is felt, but once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. Each sustained emotion programs the subconscious, which faithfully reproduces these impressions as external conditions. The world around you now reflects exactly the feelings you have cultivated, consciously or not. This deliberate forgetting serves a specific purpose. Like an actor who must forget their identity to fully live a character, the divine consciousness needed to veil its omniscience to genuinely experience the human condition. Neville confirms, the waking man is under compulsion to express his subconscious impressions. To experience the human drama authentically, you first needed to forget that you wrote the script. Every financial problem arises from feelings of scarcity accepted as truth. Every illness manifests from emotions of vulnerability or attack sustained in the subconscious. Conversely, Every success and moment of joy also emerged from corresponding feelings. You were never a victim. You were always the creator operating through a mechanism that no one taught you to use consciously. While millions pray to an external God, they are literally talking to themselves without knowing it. Each supplication represents the